business owner in Tenino of the Ironworks Boutique, I'm concerned with how our visitors view our city and the business district. When I visit other cities, I check out how their business district looks and if it looks like they care. I have attached pictures of the weeds and garbage along the sidewalks and gutters. Just in case you hadn't realized how bad they are. Over the last 9.5 years, I have swept and dug weeds at least 3 to 4 times a week from in front of my business, many times the whole block. In the past, I've spoken with business owners, but they usually don't seem to care. Cheryl Pierce from the Sandstone Cafe, Bob Roderick from the Tenino Antique Mall, and Roger Reeves sometimes sweeps. It is my understanding that the city sweeper is broken, but possibly an arrangement could be made with Rainier, as their streets are nice, or the state could take responsibility for their highway. There have been some great improvements in signage in the park. It would be nice to have the same concern for the businesses. And so this is what you have received as my citizen action request. And realizing that the sweeper is down, that it's a city or a state highway. Maybe the state highway could sweep something, but us working together, all of us, it just seems to me like there should be a way that we could make the streets look better. And as you leave here tonight, I would ask that you would look at Hedden's area there. That is absolutely atrocious. So those are my comments.
Thank you.
And during this session then, you have no answers back.
Stuff like this, if you want to talk about like us taking care of things, you would just set up a meeting with Troy and I and talk, because the administration is the one that clean the streets and we take care of the streets, and the council is the one that funds it and provides policy. So if you want to, so fill out a request.
I did.
Route it through us, and then
I've done that.
And then we'll contact you.
And then it.
I'll speak up.
Okay, good. Thank you, David.
I've seen it coming into town. Every time I come into town and see the grass growing on the side of the streets, I think, man, that doesn't look good when you're coming into town. So I agree, just getting it done and finding time and the money and the resources to do it. So that's my response to you. I think we can do a better job.
And so I don't think it's on Troy to do it. I just think there could be a way, how can we solve this problem? Because I really do believe it is a problem with how it looks. We have people, I'm very involved in South Thurston Economic Development Initiative group. I'm involved in the tourism group. I'm involved in lots of things, and I hear these comments. From these agencies of how our city looks, and we're improving on a lot of different things. I just think there's a way to make it happen, and it doesn't have to do with time or money. It has to do with maybe some other innovative solution, and I'm just asking for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public would provide comment? All right, I'm going to ask gentleman from Master Meter to come up, or Troy, and
I'll
Jason,
come
and
up
then we'll go forward with that discussion.
Good evening. I have Brandon with Master Meters here, and Ted with HD Power. We're going to talk about new meters, since our old ones are coming to their end of their life. So we'll kind of come up with an idea of maybe switching those out, come up with a new plan, better meters themselves. So other than that, I'm going to let these guys talk to you a little bit about the meters, the program. It's a new program. It's a lot easier for us to read. Denise could do it right there at the computer, but I'll let these guys explain that so you guys get a better idea. So this is Brandon.
Good evening, everybody. So, sorry, I'm a little taller than Troy here. So Troy just asked us to come speak about the water meters that you guys currently have in your system. A lot of the meters have hit in their lifespan, and so they're 11, 12, 13 years old, and they've surpassed their warranty, and they're starting to die out on you guys. They're no longer sending that electronic signal out. You still read them manually, they're just not sending that electronic signal out anymore. So master meter, you guys have had this system for 14, 15 years. Obviously technology has kind of moved forward, during that time as well. So I just want to talk to you guys about the new meters we're offering, what Troy's looking at, and just some of the benefits you guys can get from those new meters, and how it's going to help Tenino moving forward. So currently what you guys have, you have what we call 3G, they're pinging every 11 seconds. So right now, all the water meters in your system are pinging every 11 seconds. They're waiting for somebody to go drive by with an antenna and pick them all up and receive those readings. And no matter if you're out there, or not, they're always pinging. With the new ones, they sit dormant. They wait for you to drive by, you send out a wake-up tone, and they send the reads in when you drive by and send that wake-up tone. So longer lasting battery, they're going to last a lot longer than what you guys currently have. Also, they're what we call AMR and AMI capable. So AMR is drive-by. You drive by with the vehicle, pick up all those readings. AMI is if you ever wanted to put a tower or an antenna in town. So if you have a cellular tower, you got a water tank, anything you can fix an antenna on, you could actually read all the meters right here, through a web-hosted cloud, basically. Everything goes to the cloud, and you guys can read it from the office. So nobody actually has to go drive around and read meters anymore, frees up Troy and his guys to go do other stuff, safety concerns of having a guy on the road behind, wheel driving around, doing all that good stuff. Also, more customer focus. So that's a huge thing for us is we want you guys to be able to engage your customers, be able to give them, better answers. If they call and say, hey, I'm Mr. Smith, there's no way I've used that much water this month. You're crazy, I didn't use that much water. You guys can log on right here and say, well, Mr. Smith, here's your usage, let me email it to you. And you guys can look up that usage. So, some other things, it's a license frequency from what you guys have, so it is unique to Tenino. Nobody else in the area would have that frequency. So better range, better distances, that kind of stuff. Analytics is a big part of it, so I just want to show you guys what you would get. And now this is Round Rock, Texas, just north of Austin. This is live data of what you guys would see with the system, and a lot of stuff, non-ruined water leaks. Troy could log on every morning and see if there's a leak the night before or the day before. And you could see all those leaks and go, address them properly. Either contacting the customer or finding out it's, a toilet that never stopped running, whatever the case may be, you could go out there and address them. So critical alerts here, down the bottom. Total monthly consumption. You guys could see what your total monthly consumption is. You could take that against all of your flow meters, your source meters. So all the meters that are coming from the tank. You could take what goes through your residentials, compare that to the source meter, and see what your overall loss is for the system. Base station repeaters. You guys can see what the system is currently doing, if anything is up, down, connected, not connected, that kind of stuff, as far as when you put the antennas up. If I'm skipping over anything, just ask me. I'm just trying to keep it quick and not put anybody to sleep. Yes, sir.
Can we remotely turn water off?
No, sir, you cannot remotely turn our raw water off.
I wish.
The good and bad of that is, most of the time, the people that you want to turn the water off are going to be repeat offenders, and everything is battery operated. So if you're hammering that on-off switch every single month, you're going to kill those batteries, and the solenoid's either going to stop off or on. So there is, a maker that makes a solenoid before it gets to the meter that you could put on there. But again, that part itself is pretty spendy, and you're probably replacing that quite often if you're always jamming it each month.
I had a question too.
Yes.
You're talking about leaks. Can we detect, I know on a person's residence, and is there a way to put a meter or some kind of at one of the sources so we can see if there's a leak in our main lines? Because we've had some pretty big leaks in some of our bigger lines. Is there a way to detect those type of leaks?
Do you have octaves?
We have octaves up in the wells, we have 2,
Okay.
and we read those daily. So we kind of keep track of those, where those are at. I don't know if we could put something on, we'd have to go with a master meter
Sure,
And that's
you
a
can put a
6-inch.
turbine meter,
Yeah.
octave meter there. You can put a radio device on it, and then you can monitor it through the same Harmony MDM, meter data management, as you could the residentials.
Seems like to me, you know, we've had a
That
couple that have
package.
been going on for quite a while before we were able to detect it. There's just
Right.
that said,
Uh-huh.
oh, geez, there's something going on. It's not just residential leaks. There's a break someplace.
But I think-
Exactly, yep.
I think that's a good idea to change those into the system too, so we can get that documentation every day. I can look at it instead of having to have someone go over there every single day, because that's why we do it, just to see if there is high volume coming off that meter, so we know there's a leak.
Yep.
So, yeah,
And could it send can it send an alert to somebody if there's like all of a sudden a bunch of usage in the middle of the night? And would the system be able to send an alert? To
It would put it on
somebody?
the initial dashboard. It wouldn't send, I mean, we could probably write it to send you an email and let you know.
Or
But
something.
as long as you just check the dashboard every morning you log in,
Anyway, but
Yeah.
everybody's gonna log in. So whether it's, you know, the people in the front office or it's Troy logging in, you know, it's both tools, right? It's for service and for the customer. So when everybody's logging in, you're gonna see that meter be flagged there and say, hey, something's happening here. We need to go check it out. Talking about,
Real quick.
I'm sorry,
Security,
security.
yeah, security.
SOC 2 protocol. So this is above me as far as security, but it's 256-bit encryption. So from what I understand, that is the latest and greatest encryption.
Because whenever something's out there, that you throw the gauntlet down.
Sure.
And this is a lot of information that's, besides water, you're putting a lot of personal information out there.
The good thing is I'm not taking any personal information besides name and address. So all the personal information as far as billing information, that stays with billing. I
Well,
don't
if they
take
break
any.
in, if they can hack the system, the rest of
But
it's
we
wide
already have
open.
a radio, like a radio red system.
Well,
You current,
if they get into this one, which is accessing our system period, and it's not picking up on that, on the double security system,
it would be a pretty sophisticated person to be able to do that. I don't think there's many people out there. And there's nothing that they can get to that would be harmful to the residents. So billing holds all that information, whether it's, you know, card information, all that. I don't want it. That stays all in your billing software. All I get is, here I get the person's name, their address, and an account number that's associated with billing, so I know where to put that read once it exports in there. So I'm not actually connected to billing. You have to download the
I got it.
export file and then put it in. So just want to show you, you know, Mr. Smith myself says I didn't use that much water. You can log in, see that usage. You can see it from a monthly perspective, a daily perspective, and even click down and see an hourly perspective. So all that's exportable into Excel or PDF, and that can be emailed to the customer and say, hey, Mr. Smith, looks like on Saturday your flow just went cold. Troy, are you guys currently GISing anything in the system? No? Okay. So there is GISing and asset management being added to this. So for you guys, if you start GISing anything as far as water meter services, you know, any kind of, gosh, what's the word, hydrants, any kind of lines, you'll be able to mark this in GIS and see all this stuff in here. You can also create leak groups and see your leaks pop up in here as well. So if we want to see leaks, you could actually see them pop up on the map. And see where those leaks are coming from, and then create leak zones. So if you know the source meter is leading, you know, it's this main down this street, create a leak zone. You know, there's a big leak, you could create it, show it. Did I hit on everything? I mean, try to keep it quick, guys.
yeah.
I know it's a lot of information to take in, but just wanted to show you
So you
where
give us
everything's
a
set up.
quote.
I have.
Can you go over that?
Sure.
Do you wanna go with that, or what?
Sure. I'm with H.D. Fowler. I work for, I don't know, some of you may be familiar with our company. We're the distributor of Mastercare. Brandon works for the factory, and they go through us, or the Northwest distributor. We stock these products. I put together a quote, and there's a lot of components here you don't have to have. Troy asked me to put like meter boxes down, traffic rated meter boxes. There's a lot of meter boxes out in the system that broken lids. He mentioned if we do get to the point to where we're replacing meters, we're at that location, we should put new boxes. People aren't twisting ankles, you know, safety hazards.
We have so many boxes out there too that, I don't, you probably noticed, that are broken, the lids are broken, that they're old concrete boxes that are deteriorating. So it is time for those to be replaced too. So if we're doing the meter, we might as well do the boxes.
So the bottom part of the quote, there's some various sizes of boxes and lids. These are high density polyethylene base with a high density H20 rated lid. So you can drive over them with a pickup if they're off the guy's side of the driveway. Intermittent traffic, they'll withstand that. They're not gonna get broken by a car back in a trailer or anything like that. Various sizes depending on what size of meter that pit takes. Meters, next line up, for a specific 5/8 just a typical residential meter. The Allegro, that's the license frequency regular read meter, where you can read either via drive-by or through the base station tower. And then the next line 13, is a register only. These registers you can retrofit your existing meter bases that you have right now. So if that meter is 12 years old in the pit, still accurately reading, and we can sample some to see, okay, yeah, it's still registering within AWWA limits, then instead of replacing the whole meter, we can just put a new head on it. Don't have to take the existing meter out of the ground. So you have a full meter price with the Allegro head, the Allegro register only, and then the next item, line number 14, Allegro register. In 09 through 13 master meter, there was a firmware bug that every 11 to 13 seconds, those meters are sending that signal out, the present ones you have. This firmware bug kept a little.
It could stay on, so we pull a data log every hour, sending a signal every 11 seconds. Each hour when I woke up to pull that data log, the receiver stayed on either for additional 10 seconds or 1 second. So within that time, staying on, draining the battery for that additional 10 to 1 seconds, pulled some life off of the meters that you guys currently have. Master meter is giving you all brand new registers for the system that you have today. But what we did is we offered a price of brand new warranty, 10 and 10, 20-year warranty, 10 and 10 for the new registers if you guys wanted to go that route. And we took the reduction off of, the registers you guys bought.
The ones that were under warranty that I talked to you guys about,
Right.
there was 264
meters in your system that are within that time frame where that firmware problem is happening. And so, if that meter was made in 2009, you get a brand new register, basically it's a 10-year warranty, so you're 10 years, so you're getting a new register no matter what. And for an upcharge, for an upgrade to the Allegro, if you want to go fixed base, it'd be 119 instead of 184. So that's what that is. The infrastructure pricing, the base station, and you guys have a pretty good location with the tower. Looking at it based on what other people in the area have done, you could probably read your entire system with that. With just a base station, no repeaters necessary.
up at the reservoir.
Yes.
Yes.
If a repeater is necessary, those go for, they are another $2,700. So there may be some pockets with.
So this 69,000 is not a quote for us to, this is just a laundry list of things.
Yes.
And so it's,
What you would need if you wanted to move forward with the new system is you would need the software and the training, so I think that's lines 1 and 2, and then we would need the new registers. The infrastructure, the base station, the repeaters, those could come out at a later date whenever you guys are ready to set up the towers and read it from the towers. But the new software and the training and the register heads will at least get you the latest and greatest registers with the reading system software. You just read those drive-by until you're ready to put up the infrastructure for the tower.
You can speak more on the Microsoft, is MasterLink, the system they have now, is that still supported or no longer?
How would these work without the infrastructure?
We can still do it the old way.
Drive-by.
You have to still drive by until we get that tower set up.
Well, what's that, I mean, what,
That would get nothing.
well, these
Well-
things are failing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so this is just a laundry list. I wanna know what it would cost to do this, you know, like, you know, the 69, you know, what do we, I mean, sell us what we need, you know, what's that price tag?
Do you want to go straight to a tower system?
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
Okay.
saying,
Yes.
I'm not saying we can buy the Cadillac, but I want the Cadillac.
Yeah, we wanna know that Cadillac price, so.
Right.
Okay, well then let's put it together then,
I can put
because
that together.
And
So,
you said the tower, what tower?
The base station on the
Just
water
a cell,
tower.
we put it on a cell tower, on
Or
the
a
water
high
tower.
point,
and-
yeah, a high point to get the,
This-
to be able to.
How big is that
You put it on a cell
to
tower.
be able
so
to catch
that
the
has a
entire
lease.
city?
it's a 10
No,
foot,
no.
it's a
We're
10
putting it on the
Water
reservoir.
tower.
We have a water.
It's a 10-foot omnidirectional antenna, and I'd like to get it at least 70 feet up in the air. Because of the license frequency through the FCC and the 2-watt output of the registers, you get a lot of distance out of them. So, you know, right now what you guys are using is 900 megahertz. Anybody can use 900 megahertz. If I want to start a podcast in my garage, I transmit on 900 megahertz. So you guys would actually have a license frequency 450 to 470 megahertz, unique to you guys, and what that does is
We
just...
would have one, or we would be using one that we're already licensed.
If we buy the license.
We
You,
have vital
you buy the license, Mass Meter would go out and get that for you. You guys don't have to get that. When we retain that license for you for the 10 years. And so you guys would have that license unique to you. So only you guys would be able to use that license when they try to, if it's another company wants to get a SCADA system or something else. If they want to try to go to contact the FCC, FCC would say, okay, you can get this subset, but you can't get this one because it's already blocked off for tonight. So nobody could interfere with what you guys have.
Or it's just, or it's-
Just
or-
real quickly,
He's
putting
doing some
together
math right
the
now.
system upgrades for your software. Your DMMR, which is, and your antenna, which would recognize, read that FCC license frequency. A base station, the installation of the base station. I threw one repeater on. Before any of this would do anything, Master Meter would do a propagation study. And
What's that mean?
Takes the topography of the land and the frequencies in the area, and I see what the interference and the distortion is in the area.
Okay.
So I put the antenna at 70 feet, and then we give you a map, it's color coded, it says, okay, this antenna is gonna reach out, 2 miles here, and it's gonna cover everything. However, you got a little ridge that kind of went downhill right here, surrounded by some trees, so you got a little kind of a black pocket. We'd have to put a repeater right here to pick up that black pocket. We'd identify all that for you guys before we ever move forward with putting anything up.
So if we move to this, having this repeater or this base station, is that compatible with the system that we currently have, or do we have to replace all the meters as well?
You would have to replace at least the heads.
At least the heads, okay.
Correct.
And we don't know what the price would be on that, because some of these heads we get money back for, some of these we wouldn't.
So right here,
264 of them, if
Okay.
you elected to go the fixed base route.
Okay.
would be
Those
at
would cost you $119.
those are the ones that Mass Meter is saying, hey, we had an issue, even though they're 10 years, I still wanna, make this right, because I'm shorting you a few months on your 10 years, let me give you a price back on this.
And just adding up, just quickly, the base station installation of that, the software, actually we could delete, if you went with if 70, that totals up to about $70,000. But you could, if you elected to, not accrue an additional about $3,000 in a drive-by unit to read these radios via vehicle instead of the fixed base. But just real quickly, just all that infrastructure in one fell swoop would be about $7,000.
Is that what I said?
That's not including the meters though, so you have to take
That's
264,
not included.
264 times 119.
Yeah.
Another 31,000 for the meters.
That's for,
That's for 260.
so you guys have 724 meters in your whole system. So 264 of those will be at the 119 price.
Yeah, another 31,000.
Okay, and then the additional, you still have 146 that are still in warranty. They still got a really good warranty on them. You know, you might just kind of keep those out there until, you know, it's gonna take you a while to phase these in as you're putting stuff up. So keep those out there, and keep the warranty on them. But you do have 324 currently that have passed their full warranty. That's 44% of your system that's passed their full warranty. So more than half of your system is past warranty and then stuff that we're giving you new registers on. So you'd have to take.
260 plus, how fast do they get changed out?
If we're not changing the meter, just the heads,
5 minutes.
we
No,
can
no,
get
let's just assume that we,
just,
the whole
just
thing.
the whole thing.
Assume the whole thing.
Worst case scenario, a half hour.
No, 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 that's per, I mean, the entire system.
Oh,
The 264, how long is that gonna take? And who's actually doing the installation? Are we doing the installation?
Yes, sir.
yes.
264, that is registers only.
That's registered only, so we could probably do those in a week, the 264. If we're just doing the registers.
You don't have to turn service off, you don't have to pull the meter out of service off.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That's a solid week, 40 hours.
Yeah.
So what we do spend time on though is, so you do know, is we go through and read the system, we drive through town. We have, I think right now we're going on 7.5 pages of rereads, and there's probably to each page 30, 40 meters, readings on each page. So we manually read that many so far right now.
You spend a lot of time.
Yeah, so how much time do you spend a month reading meters?
Well, we figure there's 4 of us that actually go out and do the rereads, and it takes us probably each person 2.5 hours. And then reading meters, one person does drive through town, that takes about another 2.5, 3 hours. So you're spending a day and a half, 2 days,
A month.
a month. Yeah, a month.
Before these meters hit their shelf life, as far as batteries, how long would it take you guys to read when everything was working great?
When everything was working great, yeah,
Just faster drive.
yeah, exactly, an hour and a half, yeah, fast as you can drive through town, yeah. So right now, we're just in a scenario where we're getting more and more that are dying off, and either we just go with the old 3G, keep doctoring it along, or we go with the new product and, go update it and get it to where it's a lot
If you
easier.
go to the system that beams everything up to the cloud, are there then also services that can do all the billing?
Billing is
No.
Billing is already is separate. What we do have in tandem when it does get beamed up is we have a customer application, an app on your phone that you can download, Android or Apple. They could actually see their water usage, they could set high and low limits, they could go in there and see their own usage. So, if they had a complaint or had an issue, they could actually log in and see their own issues and do it that way. However, you can't pay anything, I don't want all their credit card information, all.
No, I'm talking about like.
Automatically download into
Yeah,
our
third
billing
party.
system, so they just.
That just takes care of the billing, sends everything out, receives it. Is that,
I know there's companies like
are
that.
there companies that do that?
There are companies that do that. Within Harmony itself, you can give different restrictions on access for users. If you guys found a company like that, I'm sure they could log into your Harmony application with only specific rights to do certain things. Go in there and pull it each month before you can bill out.
What I'm hearing you say is, we engineer this telemetry network, the data gets fed to the tower feeds it to where?
Microsoft Azure Cloud.
Okay, so why don't we go direct to the cloud using small cellular technology that is now springing up everywhere? Why do we have to buy $100,000 worth of equipment?
because you'll be putting a SIM card in every single water meter that's submerged in water all the time.
Okay, again,
So-
that's why they have small cell technology.
I understand. It's just, it's in.
And you just
it's-
got done telling us, we're gonna build this Wazoo system and it's go to a card so that you guys can put it out over the internet. Why don't we just put it on the internet to begin with?
Well, that's what it's doing. It's collecting it and putting it on the internet. I guess
Just going through $100,000 tower instead of directly.
The
to
tower's
line.
not 100,000.
you would still have,
By the time it's all said and done.
Yeah.
sure, but then you're gonna have to pay for data plans for every single meter that you have in your system.
Do that anyway. For every meter we
No.
have in the system.
Yes, because you're filtering data on a cellular network, so you would have to pay for the data exchange on a cellular network.
Okay, now you just explain why we want our own tower. I get that, because if we buy the license, the frequency's ours, we can use it to our heart's content.
Sure.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And then again, how does it, we gotta figure, let me start out saying this, we know we need new meters.
Sure.
And we really like the concept, not that we're trying to not do it.
I understand.
We wanna understand all the stuff that we have to do to get it done correctly.
Sure. And I'm not.
Whether the antenna's on here or the antenna's on the water tower up there, how does it get from there to wherever we can
And the
log in
reason.
and do the
And the
stuff?
reason why we don't have cellular in the meters themselves is because we've penciled it out and it's too
Oh,
costly.
it'd be horrendously
Nobody's
expensive.
gonna pay for it. Nobody's gonna ever go for that route because of the cost itself. Right now, we have an
This
IP60.
cost alone, this cost is enough, and I'm not like, how do we pay for that?
Sure. And so that's why that isn't there. That's why it's not a cellular card in a meter talking directly to the cloud.
Okay. Again, how does it get, wherever the antenna is, how does it get from there to wherever
To your
Troy
system.
wants it?
To downstairs,
It's a cellular upload. It is a cellular upload.
Okay, so, but a singular
It's a singular versus 724
individual.
data points, yes, sir.
Okay.
Good questions. Challenge you.
Sure. No, that's okay. No, I mean, a lot of people want that. The challenge is we're putting a computer in the ground. We're putting a computer in the ground that usually is full of water all the time. So our challenge is how do we keep water intrusion out of there, and how do we make this thing last as long and as efficiently as we can, so you guys aren't buying a new system every 2 years.
And there's a 10-year warranty on each of these meters, is that?
So it's a 20-year warranty. 10 of that is full warranty. So if anything happens within 10 years, you get a brand new one, no questions asked. The second 10 years is prorated, and so each year is prorated after that.
What's the warranty if on the replacement?
On the 264?
We just said we get a 10-year on the meter.
Yes.
Okay? If we have to replace it, we get a brand new one. What is that warranty?
It keeps the warranty of the original meter
The
itself.
remainder of the original.
So that one could be 2 years, 3 years.
It could fail
but it's not gonna
100
be
times in
another
10 years, and I'm still giving you 100 brand new heads for it.
That's not the question. The
Okay.
question is, does that second one have a 10-year warranty, or is it just, and you answered it, it just backs up from, it takes over
It's a
from
continuation
where
of
that
warranty.
broke?
Correct.
So if it's 5 years, then it's got a 5-year warranty.
Correct.
If it breaks 2 days before the warranty is up, then you got a two-day warranty on it.
Correct. That's correct. Sorry, I misunderstood.
I like it, I think it's a great system.
Gotta figure out how to pay for it.
One thing that I've
We
seen,
need to shop around.
I deal with a lot of districts and utilities. My role with HD Fowler is I take care of all the municipalities in the southwest corner. We probably have 15 or 20 3G radio read systems scattered throughout, Raymond, Westport, here,
Centralia,
Centralia, I mean, a lot of, people are looking at this is the newest, the latest, the greatest. Yeah, it's expensive, these towers, to put them up, to erect them, if there's not a tower or a base station already. You can migrate from 3G drive-by, which we presently have, to Allegro, which is the fixed base technology, licensed frequency. You can still, you don't have to do it all at once and still get some of the benefits of the fixed base. You can read them drive-by,
Yeah, you got that.
and that that it was dormant till the vehicle comes along and says, hey, I'm here, any meters that
Saves life on the battery.
bulbs up. Once you get so many installed, you can do this over a year, 2-year period, 3-year, all at once. Then you say, okay, now we've got half our system in place, or we've got the whole system in place. It's now spend the rest for this, you budget over a year or two, or do it all at once. But you don't have to go
Everything.
buy the whole thing at once.
The least, you know, the least cost option is replace these ones that are already out of warranty with the Allegro meters and start there.
Yes, and you could read them by buying, you need the upgraded software, the Allegro receiver, line number 4, the FCC license, basically that first paragraph. And you could read everything you have. The new meter technology
So
with
the
that
third, with the
equipment.
first
So like,
paragraph,
what is that,
$32,000?
$13,000?
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
13,000 or 32,000?
No, that's
So-
that's the base station. You're looking at the first 6 line items.
So that's
And
about 13,000. 13, 14,000.
that will get you reading the,
And maybe I didn't explain that. It reads both currently what you have and the Allegro both at the same time. So, where I was saying keep what you have that has warranty on it, maybe I didn't explain it.
So you don't have to replace all
You don't have to
Don't
yes.
replace those because you don't need to spend money on something that has warranty on it. Just replace the stuff that's dying out with the new product until you have enough put in the system, and then think about putting a tower up.
And we could do that over a couple of years.
We can still reduce our time. Drive-by would be more
Yes.
efficient. You could do, be back to doing
Yeah.
accurate drive-bys and getting it done quickly.
Correct.
The antenna, how many, apparently you've already looked and you saw the tower and 70-foot. I would imagine you're facing it in this type of a direction. What about the water meter behind it?
It's omnidirectional.
So it's gonna actually read 360 degrees.
Correct. Yes, okay.
and with the reservoir being on the hill, and this is just looking at the map, painted on the top over there. Getting out towards Rainier, you're down here in the flat, and that's that way, and towards like Houston Street, the reservoir, it's gonna pick up all that. But in behind the ball field here, there's some trees, a little hump, you might miss that, you probably will. And I'm thinking, before we do a prop study, I don't wanna say, oh, you only need 1 and also you need 2 or 3. I don't think so, but that could happen. But Dakota, they went to this system, and just from the drive-by antenna, the little antenna this big at City Hall, they can read virtually every, in the center, of course, they're not very, but from City Hall, downstairs City Hall, they can get all but about 2 or 3 to the end of town, nothing. And Alan's gonna put a big antenna up on top and see if he can. He hasn't done it yet, so I don't know. But that's the kind of range they have. Just with a little antenna from inside the building in there, so.
You just strategically place those in people's houses.
Yeah. Tinfoil.
Yeah.
Where you get people calling you, saying you're frying their brains, you know?
Yeah. Your tinfoil hat back on. Okay.
And the mobile system, can it accommodate the city's own frequency? I see this, you listed there under a fixed frequency.
3G.
So is that the same one everybody gets? I mean, we could get a straight Dakota signal, right?
No, it'd be a fixed base, that's your own proprietary frequency.
Okay, so we still gotta get the license.
FCC license, yes.
Yeah. And when FCC looks at it, they'll see Dakota, right? And so the way we do our propagation studies, they'll see if there's any overlap, and they'll make your subsets where they're not close to each other, so you won't interfere.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Any questions? We good? Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Alright, we've got 20 minutes left, so I'll skip to item number 4. This is the last
roughly, possibly, maybe, the last unstructured opportunity for the council and the public to provide any comments or suggestions about the proposed 2020 budget. So we're still working on it. We met with department heads, last Thursday, something, I don't even know what today is.
That's Friday.
No, you and I,
Last Friday?
last
You and I
Friday.
met Thursday.
John and I met again Thursday. We've still got some kind of wickering to do. And some work with some of our department heads to kind of get things a little more in place. But we're kind of zeroing in. Some of our wish list items are probably not gonna make the final budget. Kind of big changes would be regarding property tax collection. So we, because we annexed into the fire district, we lost the ability to collect for that kind of emergency service. So that part comes out of our budget and it just goes directly to them. But it's kind of a wash because in the past we had paid them for that service. So we're seeing a decrease in that number again. And then because they passed their levy lid lift, I think, and I'm probably not entirely accurate, but the rate that we paid them at in the past was like like $1.25 per thousand, and that was what we paid them was rated at. Now they passed the levy lid lift, so they're going to be like $1.50 per thousand, something like that. So they're going to be collecting, I think, a little more than we paid them in the past. So we'll see a further kind of dive down in property taxes, but at the same time, we're not paying out what we're paying. So it's kind of, it's kind of not what it looks like. It's not that we're collecting, it's not that property values have gone down. It's a change in the calculation of what we collect. Did you have any insights or thoughts while we share this numbers?
It would have been nice to have a particular document that the county assessor has issued prior to the election. What the document shows all of the jurisdictions in Thurston County, and it's not a graph, it's a chart, but it charts from 2016 to the present whether the jurisdiction's taxes have gone up or down. So the city of Tenino from 2016 to present has lost 6.73 or something, almost 7% of our levy ability, whereas District 12 has increased by 47%. So our citizens are not going to be able to, the right way to say, the district taxes, it's multi-jurisdictional. The city is within their jurisdiction. There's other district members from without the city that pay the same levy, so they're all contributing to the fire department. Within the city, our decrement isn't just about fire, it's about every service the city provides, and there is a net loss. The contract that we had was negotiated, and we did not ever give them $1.50, which they could have levied. We gave them $1.10, and the other 40 cents we used to provide water and offset other services. And the fact is we lost it. From where we were budgeting, the discussions that Mayor Fournier was talking about on Thursday and Friday last week are now $34,000 less due to the discussion I had with the assessor's office this morning. The levy, what I'm having trouble conceptually is the normal levy that the district could is $1.50. They asked for a levy lid lift, so they're actually going to get more than $1.50, and it's going to get decremented from us.
I can explain it. I've been through this many times.
If you can do a better job of explaining
I
it,
think that they can legally collect $1 without asking for more. They can ask for a little lift to go to $1.50. But what happens, just like with our tax, because you can only get a 1% increase, that amount goes down every year. So they went from $1.50 at one point, slowly have come down, just kind of like we do. So they're back down to $1.17, I think it was, or $1.19. So all they're asking now is to bring it back up to $1.50, where they had already been authorized to get it before. But because of increased construction, and because of the 1% less, that $1.50 gets eroded for fire districts anyway. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but when I was working in Lacey, that's what would happen. We'd start out here, and every year you'd be down 1 or 2 cents, and then pretty soon you ask.
that is an excellent explanation of why they were able to get the levy lid lift. It doesn't change the fact that the city has to absorb the whole amount of that.
Ours, because now we're paying $1.50 that we can't collect. I mean, the
We
difference
can't
between the $1.19 that we were paying and the $1.50 now comes out of our, the money that we would have had in the city used.
So, are there any questions? Now that you're getting a chance to look at the revenue, this is just the, I mean, there are still going to be additional changes, but we're kind of zeroing in on it.
What do we got in roads?
Nothing. There is no money for streets. That is why we're talking about that sales tax initiative. There's no money in streets, and there probably is gonna be less money in streets, after this car cab thing. Not that we were getting anything,
Yeah, we weren't.
there's just gonna be less opportunity to get
To get
nothing.
some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not even worth mentioning.
No, it is, because there are opportunities, or were opportunities for us to get money from the state. We hadn't been able to get together match, we hadn't been able to get together,
Which has been since I've been here. We've
But what
never
I'm
been
saying
able to
is-
come with the matches or anything. The
There's going to be
opportunities
less.
were there,
yeah, they're not, the
but we
opportunities
weren't
aren't.
able to take advantage of any of them. And we go back to the $30 tabs, which we've already done before. It's a moot point. We've never been able to access anything that was there because of the size of our community.
Well, now we're not
and the
even,
match.
we're gonna be able to access even less. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's going back to what it was almost 20 years ago when we did $30 gas tabs. And then it started creeping in a little bit here and a little bit there, and that's why this came back.
As far as us is
Yeah.
concerned,
We're not gonna be.
there's
able
gonna be
get-
less resources.
Again,
So you asked what is in there, and I said there's nothing.
Yeah, that's the only answer.
And
that
now
we-
there's going to be even less than nothing next year.
Nothing is nothing, that's all it needs
Oh,
to be said.
no, there's negative. It's gonna get even worse. Because there's not gonna be grant money or anything available in the future. Now, we're gonna, it's gonna come, I don't know where it's gonna come from, but it's gonna get worse, so. If it was bad now, streets aren't gonna get fixed. We're gonna work on that sales tax initiative, and we will start building a future for our streets. But to see some type of magic wand or, magic pill or solution or, looking, what 3 years ago, 2 years ago, everybody's saying, well, the feds are gonna kick in a bunch of infrastructure money. There's gonna be some big infrastructure package that comes in and fixes our roads and bridges. That ain't gonna happen. So, we're gonna have to figure this out on our own, and it's gonna take a while. So, when you go look to the street budget in this 2020 budget, don't look for much.
Pothole fixes.
Yeah. No. Anything else? Any budget comments from department heads? Is Troy still here? No. He's outside? Okay. Department heads, any other budget
well,
comments?
continue this until you want to.
We got 9 minutes.
But, so, when we get to the public hearing on the revenue, I'll go through the methodology and all that, but you all are familiar with it. So we really tried hard to stay within the SAO's guidelines for budget development, you know, cost allocation, all the stuff we get beat up on during the audits. We really tried, made an honest effort to do it. And if you do it with 100% efficiency with respect to cost allocation, our budget becomes unmanageable. So we did it the way the auditors would like us to do it, under perfect conditions, and then we started shifting it around to meet the practical demands of our city. What that means to us is we're trying to cost the operations of this city in those accounts that are best able to bear it. And we are
with justification.
with justification. And next year we'll ratchet it a little tighter, and the year after that we'll ratchet it a little tighter. And that's really, I think, the best we can do, absent some, you know, manna falling from heaven. There are some revenue streams on the horizon, but I don't think it would be the right thing to do right now to try to project those into this budget. For example, we know the houses at Hidden Meadows, you know, we thought they were going to start building them last year, so we kind of budgeted for that in 2019. It didn't happen, and you see the results of that in our budget. But it's going to happen in 2020. Okay, well, now with the experience of hindsight, are they going to build all 34 houses and they're all going to get bought and everybody's going to start using them next year? I don't know. We'd like to think so,
They
right?
built them pretty quick. They built them pretty quickly in Rainier. I mean, so there are places
There's that,
where we will make adjustments.
You know, there's an increase of B&O tax on the horizon from the new manufacturing concern here in town. That'll be a big help. And then if we can get septage receiving going, that's as close to manna as we're gonna get. I mean, every day that we're not processing septage is about $30,000 of revenue we're losing. We have to do some things to take advantage of that. And, you know, so we want to do septage receiving first and foremost because it's the right thing to do, rather than have this stuff spread out where it's unhealthy. We have a facility that can process it. It's right that we should do it. We should get paid for doing it, and we will. And the first thing we want to do with septage receiving money is try to pay down the cost of our loans and reduce the bills for our citizens. And then we have to look at the appropriate excise tax to move that money from a proprietary fund, you know, the sewer plant, into the general fund. And then we can start seeing some relief from some of these losses, I guess, that we're experiencing. So it's not all doom and gloom, but you know, we can't put a date on it, and even if we could put a date on it, we can't attach an amount to it. So
Let's hurry up and wait.
Yeah, and we don't want to get too projection-y. You know, we need to be careful. And you know, we've been pretty good about being careful. I don't want to use the C word, conservative. John would get all excited.
So you'll see it in my,
Okay, make me smile.
Yeah.
the mayor and I were talking about how our projections got so off. Well, there's a lot of reasons, but if you look at the budget position recap that I could run for you, it lists all the funds, and with respect to the general fund, we're actually fairly on target. Not only with respect to what we should be, you know, taking in and expending, but also our ability to, you know, put it on paper ahead of time so that we can kind of manage it. There's some aberrations, but generally it's good. In the general fund, we're targeted. But as you look at the budget overall, we're off, and it's because of some big things, like 34 houses didn't pop up. We didn't get some of those things done. The taxes shortfall, you know, they were just matters completely out of our control. Okay, I mean, the general fund is the only one I really, you know, that keeps me up at night. The proprietary funds are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They are basically operating on an even keel. And when I say the general fund, remember that our quarry pool fund, even though it has a separate number, and our contingency fund, even though it has a separate number, and our street fund, even though it has a separate number, all roll into the general fund. You know, and the pool, we're gonna operate the pool. We want it, our community wants it, it's what draws people into town, so, okay, it's gonna operate at some loss. The rest of the general fund can absorb it, you know, when we don't lose $30,000 in ad valorem taxes. The street fund, I'm with the mayor, that's a problem. You know, we can shore it up, and you know, there's things that we can do so that the general fund will end on a positive note.
Streets are expensive, and
Streets are
and the
expensive.
problem, you know, we're not gonna completely raid the general fund, and everything else is gonna suffer. The police department's gonna suffer, public works is gonna suffer. You know, like we have you know, streets. It's tough to even talk about streets because it's a product that is constantly being destroyed, right? I mean, that is, the nature of it is to be destroyed. You're driving cars on it. So it's, you know, like we build it to destroy it, and then, you know, people get upset because it's getting destroyed, but that's what you build it for. So no matter what, you're always gonna be dumping money into it, but it's tough because you gotta have them, but they're always gonna be an issue, and it is a lot of money to maintain them. I don't know. The Romans did
There's
it.
no reason to answer.
Yeah, the Romans did it, and they're still fine. We need to figure out how they built their
Go
roads.
back to the cobblestones.
Yeah,
They don't have semi-trailers.
they didn't have
Donkey
semis.
carts.
Yeah, listen, we need to go back to donkey carts. Wait a minute, that was a discussion
I
this
think when I
week,
say
wasn't
one,
it?
only have about 5
Yeah,
guys.
there's
out there
gonna be
picking
one.
rocks out of the road and fixing
Yeah,
putting
there
new
was,
rocks in there.
that was a discussion
Yeah.
this week.
New York
The
City,
donkey carts.
Jersey City,
What?
they all still have
December
cobblestone
10th.
streets
Mhm.
that were put in where you got
14th,
money.
I thought.
Yeah, and they just pave over them.
Some of them not even that.
Really?
I thought it was the 14th.
I was driving on some Seattle the other day.
Suspensions.
All right, that is the end of the work session. Take a 1-minute break. All right, break's over. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the November 12th, 2019 Tenino City Council meeting. Let the records show that all council members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That brings us to agenda approval.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to approval of the October 22nd, 2019 regular city council meeting minutes.
So moved. Approval.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda, or the minutes as presented.
Jason.
Jason seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to the consent calendar, payroll and EFTs in the amount of $42,066.35, and checks number 28657 through 28698 in the amount of $66,638.17 for a grand total of $108,704.52.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to the rest of the consent calendar, which is liquor license renewals for Scatter Creek Brewing Farmers Market, Scatter Creek Brewing Domestic Winery, and since no business
Second.
license. Oh, wait, hold on. Scatter Creek Brewing Farmers License, no business license, no B&O tax return since 2017. Scatter Creek Brewing Domestic Winery, no business license, no B&O tax return since 2017. Heddens, no comments. Cannabis Northwest has not paid B&O taxes for third quarter.
I think in the past we said if they're not paying B&O taxes, we won't approve the renewals until they're current on the B&O taxes.
That's what we said.
We write back to the LCB saying that we did not vote, or we
Correct.
first let them know, or?
Yeah, I do. I sent them a note saying, hey, the council will approve this if you pay your taxes. If you don't pay your taxes,
Probably
we're
need a
gonna
business
tell
license
the
in two of the
cannabis
cases,
board we
too.
don't want
Yeah.
to.
Okay,
So I'll-
Councilmember Watterson, would you craft a motion for us, please?
I'll make a motion to approve only Heddens and the other three with no licenses or B&O tax be notified that they won't be renewed.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded, with the motion as stated. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We have no executive session. That brings us to presentations. Mr. Sharon Kuntz. Did I say it right?
Yes,
Did
I'm
we-
You're not
Sharon for
Sharon.
Sharon.
Okay, you're not Sharon. Okay.
Before we move ahead, that was the second motion to
The
the,
rest of the consent calendar.
okay, but we never officially took a vote on the rest of the consent calendar. There's a motion and a second.
We had a,
Then we had this motion and a second, but we never came back to the original motion and a second.
Never voted on it.
I don't think, was there a second?
Yes.
Okay. The previous motion, who was it made by?
I made the motion.
Motion made by Jason.
No motion and second.
Seconded by Jason.
All right, do you want to withdraw your second? All right, second withdrawn, motion dies. Thank you, keeping us honest. Mr. Sharon Kuntz, Friends of, just joking. What is your name, sir?
Josh Stottlemyre.
That's right. Mr. Josh Stottlemyre from Friends of Rockwood Prairie wishes to address the council regarding the proposal to develop the old DuPont Powder Works property near Maytown as warehousing. Sir, the floor is yours.
Is the light green?
Yeah,
It's bright green versus a dull.
there we go.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, council members. My name is Josh Stottlemyre. I have lived in Tenino or within about a half mile of Tenino for the better part of the last 18 years. I've just recently moved a little further out. We're out by Tilly now, but we still consider Tenino as our hometown. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight to you about this important topic. I'm speaking to you on behalf of Friends of Rocky Prairie. We are a group of community members interested in protecting the area known as Rocky Prairie, which is just southeast of Millersvania State Park off of Tilly, and adjacent to the West Rocky Prairie State Fish and Wildlife Area. Washington State Fish and Wildlife has called this area a unique habitat matrix, which supports several threatened and endangered species and is among the rarest habitats in the world, with only 5 quality sites remaining in the world. This is one of them. The Port of Tacoma owns 745 acres, of which a significant portion of this is Rocky Prairie habitat. The Port of Tacoma has entered into a purchase and sale agreement with a Missouri-based company called North Point Development, which intends to construct what's called an intermodal truck train transfer station on the site in partnership with BNSF Railroad. North Point officials have stated that the facility will have between 6 and 9 million square feet of buildings, along with 300 to 500 acres of additional impervious surface on the site. Well, the company has not yet put together a traffic plan. A representative from the company has indicated that 4,000 plus vehicles per day are to be expected. along with 24/7 operation. In addition to the extreme increase in traffic in the area throughout the county and the associated air and noise pollution, the site is also a critical 1-level aquifer. According to a Thurston County hydrologist, it would take as little as 1 hour for a spill on the site to reach the aquifer and contaminate wells. The area is also a critical part of a 3,000-acre wildlife corridor, which many species depend on and hunters particularly enjoy the use of. The neighboring Millersvania State Park, which is less than a half mile from the site, attracts over 425,000 visitors per year, who represent local spending of approximately $11 million according to a Washington State study. 55,000 of those visitors spend the night at the park. As you can imagine, 4,000 trucks traveling adjacent to the park on Maytown Road and through the park on Tilley Road would have a devastating effect on the park visitation and the economic impact those visitors bring to this county and this city. In 2010, the Thurston County Board of Commissioners recognized the great ecological value of this property and granted a request of more than 2,000 citizens to protect the Port of Tacoma property from a zoning designation of rural residential 1 to 20 houses per acre. The critical aquifer, rare habitat, and proximity of several endangered species, as well as the surrounding parks and preserves, make this zoning of 1 to 20 the only sensible one. In order for the project to go forward, the site must be rezoned. A request for the rezoning to industrial has been submitted to the county by the Port of Tacoma and North Point Development. The Board of Commissioners will decide as soon as January whether to include the rezone request on the 2020 docket. This project is an example of outside corporations and municipalities receiving nearly all the benefits, while the local community bears the majority of the costs. The Port of Tacoma stands to gain on the sale of the property, and a Missouri company will enjoy the profits. The state and county and city taxpayers will no doubt be on the hook for the necessary infrastructure that will be needed to handle the thousands of trucks on our 2-lane roads in this area, as well as the upkeep and repair. I spoke to you last time I was here about Elwood, Illinois, another small town like Tenino, who allowed an intermodal like this to come in. They are repaving some of their roads as often as 3 times per year due to the heavy truck traffic. The fact is, our roads in this area and in this town were not designed to stand up to thousands of trucks per day. As you discussed earlier, you do not have the funds to keep up your roads as is. As you saw a few weeks back when we had an accident on I-5, traffic rerouted through Tenino, as often happens. A truck driver, not knowing the local truck routes, went up Old 99 and wedged itself in the train tunnel. The addition of 4,000 trucks, many paid by the load, will make this type of mistake much more common. Every Sunday in the summer, when I-5 backs up, truck drivers endeavoring to turn a profit for the day will take alternate routes, many of them through Tenino and up Old 99. This will inevitably, they'll miss signs and possibly wedge in the tunnel again. 2 of the 3 roadways into town that are clogged or closed has to have an impact on local businesses and the residents. Our organization has been busy collecting signatures and organizing to show the county that the citizens oppose this project. However, we know the commissioners also value and respect other elected officials in our community. As Tenino will be significantly impacted by the traffic from this project, we feel a message from this council in the form of a resolution or other conveyance you see fit would be highly impactful in this matter. I'll finish there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead.
I think all the ones I had were answered last time, so.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Not so much questions, but I guess they are. You put a lot of suppositions in there For example, you said that small city was having to redo their roads every 3 years or so?
3 times per year.
Okay, 3 times per year, which means that the revenue that is coming from the business itself is taking care of that, tax dollars. So I'm not sure that that's a real strong argument. And there were some other ones along the way that you were putting there, and I was starting to write them down, and I stopped. One of them is the biggest part, the biggest place that you've got to do, because this is designated by the state as habitat. Isn't that where your battle is, not here? Because a resolution from us, some people think that it carries a lot of weight, others don't. In this type of a deal, because it's so far outside of Tenino, I really don't think a resolution from us is going to help. Other things along the way, and I was just bringing this up to my lady friend the other day. Years ago, I've heard these kind of arguments out in the Lacey area where the Safeway store is. Oh, it's gonna flood, it's gonna do this, it's gonna do that. Well, we're looking 25 years or plus later, and it's not flooded. It's not causing a lot of backups. All the things that everybody said, those things were addressed quite well. And you go out there, and the history of that place has been very good. That's why you're seeing so much business moving out of that neighborhood, because all the no, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, didn't. More than likely it didn't, because during this process, it was all addressed. The flooding, the traffic, all that kind of stuff that everybody said. So a lot of what you're saying here is supposition, and I can understand not wanting that area to develop. But there's also the other side where that can help this county as a whole with employment, the taxes that come off of employment, the money that's spent from all the people that are enjoying this jurisdiction. And Tenino is in the beginning stages of a growth spur. That could hurt us greatly. So I'm not trying to throw stones at what you're saying. I'm just not so sure, watching the history that I've seen in Thurston County, that a lot of the stuff that you're bringing up is actually going to happen. For example, you said that the state is, that area is protected habitat or something?
The adjacent to the site is the West Rocky Prairie Fish and Wildlife Preserve.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I think, 500 acres protected habitat for several endangered and threatened species.
Okay, then why would the state allow that to happen if it was going to damage that area?
We don't believe that they will. However, we are trying to save the taxpayers the money of going through a quite extensive, what could be many year process to show these different impacts, as well as save the community members the stress and anxiety of not knowing what's coming to their neighborhood. So that's part of the basis of that. Could I address some of your other comments? Sure. So in regards to employment, I think I spoke to this somewhat last time I was here, but the jobs that are coming, well, jobs are great and I have no objection to them, are not the jobs that I think that most communities would want. The national average for jobs at these types of facilities is 80% temporary employees. So they have no benefits, no raises, no vacation, and turnover rates are incredibly high. And they found for example, in Elwood, in this other community I'm talking about, they've done studies on this, and it actually reinforces the cycle of poverty. It ends up with more people being homeless because they like to limit the employment to 90 days to avoid certain federally and state required unemployment benefits and termination benefits. Yes?
I feel horrible saying this, but you've already told us this stuff.
Yes,
So I mean, like, I feel horrible saying
yes,
that.
I understand,
but
no,
if-
that's fine.
I really like feel
Why
bad about
say
this. But if you have any like non-repetitive stuff.
Sure, sure, I'm sorry.
I really, I'm sorry.
Absolutely,
But
no,
I do
I
appreciate
understand that,
everything you're
absolutely.
saying.
So let's see. 1 second. So you talked about the why you don't think that a statement from this council will be impactful. We feel it very much will be. In talking to the commissioners, they have given us the impression that they want to hear from you guys. And the traffic will inevitably come through here when I-5 backs up, or just because the roads that are there aren't adequate for the amount of traffic that's going through there. Beyond, me just, my impression from the commissioners that they value your opinion, I cannot say more than that, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any further comments?
No, I appreciate you coming in here,
Yeah.
and I think a resolution would probably help you too. And I see in the Lacey area, yeah, it may not be flooded, but there's a lot of empty warehouses that have been built there, and there's no jobs in there. So, and plus right now they're redoing the I-5 overpass because it does get backed up. So,
That's a whole different ball of wax.
so they
I think your strongest argument is the one that you barely alluded to. If you really think that the state will never allow this, and it's just a waste of time of an exercise, that to me would be your best argument. I mean, if you could show that,
And we are
I'm just
we
saying.
are working on that with commissioners. This similar project was proposed back in 2008.
yeah.
And they did a lot of these studies already, and so, but it's all new commissioners, so we're trying to get this information in front of them. We're digging up the studies, the old studies, and putting that in front of them, and I'm sure that is helping. But every little bit helps. We'd just rather not see this go forward at all, and that's why we're asking for your help, is to stop it before it starts, to keep the anxiety from, you drive down the road in your town here and you see the signs already that other people in this community don't want it. They have anxiety too. That's why they have those signs out there. So that's why we're asking for your help.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to take an opportunity, and I'll go up here as a public comment.
Let's tell the whole story. Let's tell the whole
let's-
story. He said the Thurston County Commissioners approved something. They did, not without undue influence, and it cost a certain county commissioner her position on the board.
That's a different subject.
And there is a lawsuit recently settled in the, I want to say, the 2nd Appellate District for the state of Washington, where the property in question, the owners of that property have a perfected right to open an open pit mine. So if we deny them this developmental opportunity, would you rather have an open pit mine, because we're going to have to pay them for it, because we are preventing that company from operating their mine? We are taking money out of their pockets.
We are not doing anything.
That's a court case that
We
has
are
been
not doing
settled.
anything.
And if we continue to offer that, we're going to pay money for nothing, and we will get no economic benefit for it. That's my rant.
Mr. Mayor, before we do any kind of resolution, I do believe we need to hear the other side.
That's up to you guys. What the next, I am not proffering anything. That is what you guys want to do, how you guys want to discuss it. How you guys want to approach it. I would say that's a next meeting work session topic, and you guys hash it out and then tell us what to do. That's the way I always work, because we're not going to go independently draft a resolution. We're not going to, the gentleman, hey, we're not going to call North Point, like, get us a resolution. None of that happens. It is, you guys represent the will of the people. You guys represent the will of the council, and whatever you guys want to do, we're going to do it, and we're going to vote it out, and punch each other in the face while we're debating it, and then we will sign whatever the council.
I want to sit by John while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Stay right where
We're gonna
I'm
bring
at.
in boxing gloves and we're gonna figure it out.
I would like to see us put it on the agenda for further discussion
I
with
would
the
too.
council. So I have mixed-
Next work session, it will be the first item up for discussion. I imagine we'll see Mr. Kuntz. I'm joking again.
And every other organization has the same opportunity as this group has to come to present.
Clear the meeting
If they're
next-
interested in letting us know their opinion, they're more than welcome to come and do it. I'm sure we can
Oh
do the same.
God, here we go. All right, next up, Ms. Joyce Worrell, Park Foundation Splash Bash Committee will present the city with a check to assist the operating costs of the quarry pool.
You have to go out there and accept it.
We're not until she gives her speech.
Oh, am I gonna give a speech?
Absolutely. Make sure it's a valid check too, no one
I know.
bounces on it.
She's gonna bounce it on over to us.
Okay,
Boing, boing, boing.
okay, I have to give a speech.
Dan, you wanna come
before
take a
you do
picture
it?
of Joyce giving her speech? Yes. Hold on.
You can't, it has so much hairspray on it because I got my hair done today, so tomorrow I'll be different.
Oh, good.
Okay. Oh, so,
Do it like this.
now what?
Like
Oh,
this.
like this.
You gotta hand it to her.
That
works.
Oh,
Oh, well, you missed that. The photo opportunity right there. She was gazing in the back. Stop taking pictures till we're ready.
He's the first one.
Okay.
oh, yeah, you have.
Speech,
I got another one on the
speech.
front of this week's paper.
Okay, so seriously, we
Tenino
really
girls
are
hoisting
from
their
the
trophy.
Splash
Yeah, that's a
Bash
good one.
Committee, just proud to give you this $9,000 for, to continue the park, the pool for our children and even some adults that use the pool. And I would like to remind everybody that we would love to have participation in the Splash Bash Committee that is starting again. We just had our first meeting. Our next meeting will be the 20th, and it will be at the Sandstone Cafe at 5:30 on the 20th. And if any of you know any of the younger people of our community
Rachel and Jason.
that, I just looked over there, that would like to participate or know of somebody that, because I have no children that live here in Tenino or grandchildren or great-grandchildren, although they could use the pool. I don't have those in the school district, neither does Linda.
I
Do
got one, but
you?
there goes the pool. It's too cold for it.
Oh my God.
All right.
So anyhow, we would love the new input from the citizens of the area here to come to and help us put on our auction.
We can
And
put your
our-
meeting
And
on
when
the
is
city
it?
website.
When is it?
What is- It's the 20th, oh, thank you, I see, I thought you were talking about the auction itself. The 20th then of November at 5:30 at the Sandstone Cafe is when our next meeting will be. And then our auction is scheduled and on the calendar for the vault to be held at the vault again this year, and it is May 16th, Saturday, May 16th.
So to get a hold of young people, try some newfangled ways to put out a meeting announcement, like using the internet.
The internet.
Send like an article, like write up an article for Thurston Talk or something about Splash Bash and about the committee, and then they will put it on their website, and then you can share it from there, and you'll get a bunch of traffic.
Good deal.
What was the
Yeah,
amount
we
of
have
the check?
a tower.
The
What's that?
amount of the check was,
$9,000. Yeah, we got a 70-foot tower.
and we also have I haven't done anything with it yet, but I will. We've had a Splash Bash Facebook page for a long time, so we'll be posting on that as things go on.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you so much.
That brings us to public hearings. I'm gonna sneeze at some point. All over Linda.
It's the other way for crying out loud.
That's not on the agenda.
Yeah, no sneezing. This is the second public hearing on the proposed 2020 ad valorem tax levy. This public hearing is for public input and discussion of the 2020 ad valorem tax levy. This is the second public hearing. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce Mr. John Millard, the city's clerk treasurer, to present information about this project. Mr. Millard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I alluded to during the work session, we've had to revise our estimate of what we will be able to levy. The process is the same. We got new information from the assessor's office. We have a little worksheet. There's a copy attached to the packet here. The short story is we had to figure out what the highest lawful levy would be. If if there were no constraints on us, we could levy up to $293,000. There are constraints. Therefore, we're only going to be able to levy $234,970. And there is a caveat to that. This is still an estimate because the library district does not finalize their computations on the same schedule as everybody else. So Ms. Rebick at the assessor's office, we sat down and we're kind of gaming the system a little bit. We know we're going to ask for a little bit much because we don't know exactly how much the district is going to get. So if we ask for a little bit too much, the county won't let us levy that much. But if we don't ask for enough, we have to go through the process again to do an increase. So we're asking for a little bit more, knowing that we probably won't get that. What we're asking on the document that I'm going to send forward, we're going to ask them to levy $1.78 per $1,000 of assessed value. It may come in $1.77, it may come in $1.76, but the most that we'll be able to get with this document is $234,970. And that represents $34,000 less than the best case, which is what we told you last time. Pending your questions, we'll leave it to the public.
At this time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available after everyone has had a chance to speak. I'm requesting the council members hold their questions of the public until everyone is done. If there's anyone in the public who would like to provide testimony, please come forward and do so at this time. If there's anyone in the public that would like to provide comment. Hearing none. Is there any in the audience that would like to provide additional non-repetitive information? Council members, do you have any questions of the audience or the staff?
I just had one about the fire department issue. Does that include the amount less we'll be able to take? That's
Right.
included?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions from council? All right, public testimony of this hearing is now closed. That brings us to the first public hearing for the proposed 2020 budget revenues. This public hearing is for public input and discussion of 2020 budget revenue portion. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce Mr. John Millard, the city's clerk treasurer, to present information about this project. Mr. John Millard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't get one, there's copies of the document we're going to be talking about up here. In broad general terms, it is only the revenue portion. I have updated this with the decremented ad valorem tax levy that we just talked about. What you don't get to see is the revenues. So all we're asking for here now is, does this look about right with the information we have available? Mayor Fournier alluded to the fact that myself and the other two department heads are still looking at our own expenses, and we will do that in light of knowing that we now have $34,000 less. Nevertheless, the revenues are pretty much what the revenues are. We develop these numbers, we start out with a simple average, and then we go in and change things. If there's a contract for that, then we put the contract price in. If there is some other more precise means of determining what the revenues are going to be, we use those. For example, the Municipal Research and Service Center has a little tool that tells us pretty accurately what the city's share of state shared revenues will be. So we plug those in, and then we start looking at it. You know, if you put in what you know and then what you're averaging, then we put our brain power to it and say, oh, you know, the example I used earlier in the work session, the houses at Hidden Meadow didn't get built. Well, so that means we didn't do the best job we might have done with this year's budget, but we're not gonna change it that much for next year because we know that at least half of them will be built this year. So it truly is a scientific wild ass guess in some cases. Nevertheless, what we'll do now is if you want to talk about any particular line item, we'll try to give you the rationale for how we arrived at that to the best of our ability.
At this time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available after everyone has had a chance to speak. I'm requesting council members hold their questions to the public till everyone's done. If there is anyone in the public like to provide testimony, please come forward and do so at this time. Last chance, public testimony. Going once, going twice. Council members, do you have any questions of the audience or staff?
I don't see anything on here that's too, one way or another, plus or minus, it's big besides the levy from because of the district, fire district increasing, that's a 30,000. But other than that, it's pretty consistent with last year, it looks like.
Any other comments from the council? Thank you. The public testimony of this hearing is now closed.